In the 50th year of the reign of Emperor Jiaming, Emperor Shouyuan was about to die. In order to seek immortality, he believed in alchemists and practiced medicine recklessly, leading to tyranny and abuse of the people. The people of Daxuan are struggling to make a living, the feudal lords are restless, foreign tribes are eyeing, demons and monsters are rampant in chaotic times. Yidan woke up from his dream and found himself appearing in the Changsheng hall of Emperor Jiaming. In order to survive in this stormy and chaotic world, he hid in the Palace of Eternal Life and could earn various rewards by taking medication every day. 8-9 Xian Gong, Ginseng Spirit Fruit, Changsheng Ju, Zhanxian Flying Dagger. The 4 seas and 8 wastelands, 100 schools of thought contend, I merge 3,000 great roads, and the 9 tripods of Zhentian Road. Keywords of the novel. I have been trying medicine at the Palace of Eternal Life for 30 years without pop-ups. I have been trying medicine at the Palace of Eternal Life for 30 years. Download the complete TXT collection, and read the latest chapters of my 30 years of trying medicine at the Palace of Eternal Life. Chapter 1. Yidan Pavilion. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 1. Yidan Pavilion. The Great Xian Dynasty. Changsheng Palace Examination Medicine Department. The burning pain in his chest and abdomen suddenly awakened Yidan. It was pitch black in front of me, and I couldn't see my fingers when I reached out. In the distance, there were faint screams that could be heard endlessly. Yidan struggled to prop himself up and couldn't help but let out a painful cry in his mouth. What's going on? I feel weak in my limbs, and my internal organs feel more like they have been burned by smoke and fire, with unbearable pain. Where is this again? Amidst confusion, piles of disorganized information quickly entered his mind and wandered away, causing his brain to almost crash on the spot. I have traveled through time offending the only son of the Marquis of Yongchun. Father died tragically and was imprisoned and sent to the border. Through the memories in his mind, Yidan knew that he had traveled to a person in his 20s with the same name and surname as himself. As a promising young man who often reads novels, he is not surprised, as this is exactly the standard configuration of soul wearing. At present, it is the 50th year of Emperor Jiaming of the Great Xian Dynasty. The monarch is not in power, the court is in turmoil, there are sorrowful hongs everywhere, the wine and meat of the Zhu Gate smell bad, and there are frozen bones on the road. This is not the same as the Ping and Blue Star in the previous life. Dangerous, turbulent, demons rampant, ghosts and monsters choosing people to devour. 6 months ago, Yidan's predecessor was waiting for his release in prison when a person claiming to be the colonel of the Changsheng Palace suddenly came to the prison, claiming that anyone below death row inmates could enter the pharmacy of the Changsheng Palace for testing. Not only were they delicious and well-fed, but they could also bear the consequences of their crimes and become officials after 10 years. At the border of distribution, there was always a chance of survival. With the opportunity to seek survival in the face of death, the predecessor readily agreed without hesitation and became a drug tester for the drug testing company. After entering, it was discovered that in addition to prisoners, the drug testing department also recruited a large number of refugees. As for what the Changsheng Palace is recruiting so many people for, losers like their predecessors don't deserve to know. The Dan Shu says. It is a medicine that is 3 parts poisonous. In the advanced technological era of Blue Star, many drugs still have side effects, let alone pills that already contain highly toxic heavy metals, and what the test taker takes is an innovative pill, with great risks. It can be imagined that calling it a pill or a poison is not an exaggeration. After becoming a drug tester, it can take as long as a year or as short as 3 days, and one will undoubtedly die. Yidan's predecessor was no exception. Just yesterday, after taking a red pill from my predecessor, the power of the pill dissipated, and my entire body, organs, limbs, and bones were like being roasted by fire, with qi and blood flowing back and dying. Like my predecessor, taking pills and dying upon ingestion is already considered the luckiest thing, especially there are many people who died in a tragic state, with bleeding from their 7 orifices, foaming at the mouth, convulsing all over their bodies, and more often suffering and wailing for half a month, slowly rotting and dying. However, even so, there are still many refugees and prisoners who can support themselves in turbulent times, with good food and drink, much better than being imprisoned or starving to death. Better be a peaceful dog than a chaotic person. The world is too chaotic. Yidan sat on the bed, sorting out the chaotic memories in his mind. Compared to the past life of national stability and people's safety, the difference was so great that he couldn't accept it for a moment. What's even more terrifying is that this world is not only chaotic, but also full of various demons, ghosts, and immortals. Trying to digest the memories in my mind. Jiabu number 66, Yidan, are you still alive? A slightly hoarse and majestic voice interrupted his thoughts. Squeak. Before he could answer, the person outside had already pushed the door in. Two figures caught the eye of Yidan. The leader was dressed in red armor, with a long whip hanging from his waist. He was the supervising officer of one of the 6 departments of the Changsheng Palace, the supervising officer of the supervision department, and the Ma officer in charge of the drug testing personnel in the Jia department. Mr. Ma, Yidan quickly stood up. At this moment, he remembered that every day at 10 o'clock, the supervising captain and the medicine boy would be grouped to each room to check the life and death of the drug tester, and record their physical condition. Seeing Yidan still able to speak, Captain Ma nodded slightly and stopped speaking. Then, from behind Captain Ma, a 13 or 14-year-old medicinal child walked out and, as usual, observed the physical condition of Yidan and asked if there were any abnormalities in his body. I have taken note of your symptoms. There is nothing else to do, so try to stay indoors as much as possible. This time, 100 people from Department A took the red fire pill, and 3 of them have already disappeared. Yao Tong finished his examination and casually mentioned it, but it made Yidan's heart skip a beat, and 3 more died after Ma Xiaowei and Yao Tong left. He fell into contemplation. The 6 departments of the Palace of Eternal Life, except for the drug testing department, which is established tens of zhang underground in the dark, is called to prevent the loss of pills, but in fact, it is to prevent the drug testing personnel from escaping. Before Yidan, there were already many drug testers from prisoner backgrounds who tried various ways to escape, but all ended in failure. Even the great bandits with secret techniques were unable to escape from the drug testing department, which was surrounded by experts and covered by formations, and were killed on the spot. Yidan looked at his weakened body, which had been eroded by the poison, and gave up the idea of escaping from prison. After all, I am not the leader of the sect and I have no leftist envoys around me. According to the rules of the drug testing company, each test taker has a 3-day transition period after taking medication. On the one hand, it is necessary to fully catalyze the drug's power, and on the other hand, there are also pharmacists who come to record the physical changes of the person taking the medication after taking it. At present, it seems that he still has 2 days to think about countermeasures. Maybe we should find a way out from other channels. Seeing no one around, he silently thought to himself, system. Ding. Seeing no response, Yidan made a soft noise himself. System, host call. Yidan's voice was a bit crazy. A dead silence. Yidan groped on himself for a while, but found nothing. In the end, he sat down on the hard bed in frustration. No system, no golden finger, no exotic treasure on my body, I can only wait here to die. It's like the beginning of hell. Yidan's mind kept spinning, with various ideas flashing through his mind and being rejected one by one. Until the end, his already weak body couldn't withstand such high frequency of brain use, and he fell asleep. 2 days later Yidan sat powerless in the quiet room. In the past 2 days, he has been inquiring from various sources and has almost exhausted all possible methods. Even if you recruited Yidan, he said, anything related to me, Yanping however, except for being thought by Captain Ma to have committed hysteria and taken to the mirror to see if he had been taken away by demons, there was no change. Following the principle of waste utilization, today, Captain Ma and Yao Tong still arrived as agreed. In general, if the mortality rate of the last trial is too high, this time the trial should be some elixirs with mild effects. But looking at the medicine box held in the hands of the medicine boy, Yidan fell into despair. In the sandalwood medicine box, there is a golden spiritual pill, dazzling and dazzling. At first glance, it appears that heavy metals are extremely excessive. This is Lu Xiancher's newly created Jing-Yuan-Dan, which is said to be able to live or die with human flesh and bones. You are still the first one to have the privilege of taking it. Yao Tong said with a smile on his face and handed him the pill in his hand. Thank you very much, Master Lu. Yidan had no choice but to take the Jing-Yuan-Dan, hesitated for a moment, and swallowed it in one gulp under the impatient gaze of Yao Tong. If you don't take the pill, you will be killed on the spot by the supervising captain. If you take the pill, there is still half a chance of survival. Seeing him take the pill, the medicine boy observed for a while before following Captain Ma away. The medicinal power is turned on, and the poison attacks the heart. The poison of this golden yuan pill is even stronger than expected, so it shouldn't die too painful. In a daze, Yidan felt as if his soul had gone out of his body, soaring straight up for 9 days. The clouds and mist before my eyes are ethereal, with a faint purple aura of colorful light. The spirit peak of the immortal mountain stands towering, and Yao Chao Chi Hua can be seen everywhere, with piles of miraculous medicines arranged. At the peak of Lingfeng, there stands a carved railing in jade-built attic, with 3 powerful characters written on the plaque. Yidan Pavilion. End of this chapter. Chapter 2. Heaven and Earth. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 2. Heaven and Earth. In the Yidan Pavilion, using pills to exchange things can exchange everything in the world. Yidan walked into the Dan Pavilion and faced the counter, where an ancient weighing scale was placed. At the moment he saw the weighing scale, images appeared in a daze before his eyes. The main peak of Daxuan Taibai Mountain is covered with snow all the year round. In a dense forest in a valley, a weed grows hard in the wind and rain, absorbs the spirit of heaven and earth, the essence of the sun and the moon, and gradually grows into a small ginseng. In the blink of an eye, 100 years have passed, and the little ginseng is gradually giving birth to wisdom. Unfortunately, before it could take shape, the herb pickers from the medicine department of the Changsheng Palace discovered its existence. Holding a red rope bell, they brought this century-old ginseng from Mount Taibai into the Changsheng Palace and used it as the main medicine to refine it into the golden yuan pill. The scene came to a sudden halt, and Yidan suddenly felt that he was holding something in his hand. It was the Jing-Yuan-Dan he had just taken that appeared in his own hand. By a stroke of fate, he placed the Jing-Yuan-Dan into a weighing plate. The weighing scale is windless and automatic, suspended in mid-air. The balance rod fluctuates up and down, and the Jing-Yuan-Dan has been weighed. In the Yidan Pavilion, a balance is used, and 3 stars weigh blessings, rewards, and longevity. The balance rod rises and falls, connecting heaven and earth, and 1 rod reveals the weight of the pill. The weight of the golden pill given by the weighing scale is 2 liang and 3 qian. This scale measures 1 to 9 taels from low to high, with each tael divided into 1 to 9 coins. 2 taels and 3 coins, the value of Jing-Yuan-Dan is not high. In an uncertain moment, Yidan quickly disappeared from Yidan's eyes, and his soul seemed to fall into a vast abyss, falling heavily from the 9 heavens. Yidan almost exclaimed loudly, only to suddenly realize that he had returned to the pharmacy at some point, holding a thumb-sized, grayish-black pill in his hand. The previous pavilions and towers, with all the immortal grass and spiritual flowers, have disappeared. Wash away the lead and dust, shed the frivolity, and become an immortal. Wash marrow pill. When a cultivator takes it, their mana slightly increases. After taking it, ordinary people can chop hair and wash marrow, making it easier for tendons to return to bone and improving their cultivation physique. Yidan Pavilion. Rewards for clothing pills. This is a cheat. Yidan was overjoyed. He thought it was the beginning of hell, but who knew, it turned out that cheats were waiting for him here. But looking at this gray-black marrow-washing pill, he hesitated. During these 3 days, whether from the memories of my predecessor or from my own personal experience, taking drugs is a very risky thing, but thinking of the unpredictable life and death of the once every 3-day trial, coupled with the reminder in his mind about the wash marrow pill, he gritted his teeth and closed his eyes to swallow it in one gulp. If a person dies and a bird faces the sky, they will not die for thousands of years. At this time, if you don't seize the opportunity again, take a chance, and wait for yourself, it is very likely to be irreparable. The pill melts at the entrance, and its medicinal power turns into a warm current that flows through the meridians, repairing hidden diseases in the body, constantly nourishing the body's flesh and blood, and washing away muscles and bones. The only difference between the test taker and the prisoner is that each person has an independent resting room, which can allow the test taker to calmly understand the effects of the drug and provide a basis for the medication child to record. This also facilitates Yidan throughout the process, no one disturbs him, and there is no need to worry about his secrets being discovered. After an hour, Yidan slowly withdrew from the sour sensation, his medicinal power dissipated, and black dirt was expelled from his body. He stood up and casually moved his limbs, feeling full of strength in his body. With one punch, it seemed like he could kill 10 cows, and there was no longer the feeling of weakness he had before. Finally, it's not fearless scrap metal anymore. Yidan was secretly pleased in his heart, but the light in his eyes dimmed again when he thought of the demons and monsters outside, as well as the experts guarding the drug testing department. What about stubborn bronze? This world belongs to eternal bricks and stones, and I am still like a weak ant. Stepping through the entire great mystery, it is still this trial pharmacy that suits me the best. In the chaotic world of demons and demons outside, I have the Yidan Pavilion and hide in this testing pharmacy, drinking free pills and enjoying the top-level security of the great mystery. It's like heaven and earth. Thinking of this, Yidan had already made up his mind that it was impossible to escape from prison. Everyone here was talented, spoke well, and the pills were delicious. Even if he drove me away, I wouldn't leave. This book is divided into 2 parts. Go is taking drugs in the drug testing department, isn't it fragrant? As soon as he thought of this, his desire for survival instantly filled up. He didn't clean the dirt all over his body anymore. Recalling his experience of cooking in the university cafeteria, he quickly rubbed 2 handfuls of dirt onto his face and applied a thick, weak makeup. After all, even after taking this poisonous and fierce Yuan Dan, he can still bounce around and see that he has a problem. His eyes were scattered as he looked at him on the brink of death, his blood streaks bottoming out. Anyone who looks over feels that he won't live for a few days. After finishing all this work, Yidan lay on the hard bed and began planning for a better life in the future. Since testing drugs can earn rewards, we must find a way to take as many pills as possible. But we should not act too hastily to avoid attracting the attention of those with intentions. Being impatient and unable to eat hot tofu, this matter still needs to be considered in the long run. There are also 2 consecutive doses of highly effective pills, which I don't know if it's a routine operation by the testing company or if someone is trying to harm their own life. It's unsettling to not investigate this matter thoroughly. Gugu. Yidan's 5 organs temple interrupted his thoughts with extreme disrespect. People are iron, and food is steel. If you don't eat a meal, you'll get hungry and go eat. Yidan jumped up from the hard-board bed, pushed the door open, and immediately became unsteady, slowly arriving at the pharmacy cafeteria. Hundreds of people from the drug testing department are all eating in this cafeteria. In the cafeteria, there are already many people trying medicine, some in groups, chatting, some scattered and sitting alone. Yidan came to the rice maker and handed the rice bowl in his hand. The rice chef was a middle-aged man with a slightly overweight figure. He glanced at Yidan and saw his struggling face. He couldn't help but shake his spoon a few times and handed back the full rice bowl. Young people, have a meal, eat less, eat more, and if it's not enough, come back. No matter how you hear this, it doesn't feel very pleasant however. He Pinyin was very satisfied with the effect of weak makeup. He nodded at the rice chef, casually found a remote corner, and started eating on his own. Did you hear about it? 3 days ago, the red fire pill killed 6 people in one wave. Oh, isn't that right? Ma Wangba, who lives next door on the 21st, died after taking the red fire pill. I even went to see the scene, and it was really a tragedy. Hi, what's this? Jing, who lives next door on the 30th, has been taking an ice snake pill and his whole body feels like falling into 1,000 years of cold ice. He has been tormented by cold poison every day, howling continuously for 749 days before finally swallowing his breath. He Pinyin discovered that his body had undergone a qualitative change after undergoing muscle washing and marrow cutting. His 5 senses were astonishingly sensitive, and within 10 zhang of his surroundings, any wind or grass could not hide his ears and eyes. The conversations of these drug testers fell clearly into his ears, automatically filtered by his brain, retaining useful information and filtering out useless information. I also took the red fire pill last time, and it really has a powerful medicinal effect. If it weren't for my strong body, I would probably have died from bathing in the fire. Fortunately, after taking the red fire pill, the pill sent this time was replaced with a mild pill. Upon hearing this, He Pinyin's eyelids twitched and soon returned to normal. This Jin Yuan Dan is really not right. End of this chapter. Chapter 3. Soul Capturing. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3 Soul Capturing. While He Pinyin was collecting information, there was a heavy sound of footsteps from 8 zhang away behind him. He glanced calmly and then continued to sit and eat. Pop. A muscular man, 8 feet tall and with a face full of flesh, slapped his palm the size of a fan on his right shoulder. He Pinyin pretended to stumble and twitched at the corner of his mouth, then turned around and said, "Brother Zhang, can you take it lightly?" "Hey, Pinyin, it's not that I'm talking about you. You're so thin and weak, how can you survive in this pharmacy?" Brother Zhang was joking. "If I had your physique, I wouldn't have been humiliated by those people." He Pinyin smiled and continued to lower his head to cook. The sturdy man who patted his shoulder was Zhang San, who lived at number 65, Jiabu, next door to He Pinyin. Zhang San looked fierce and evil, but in fact, he was a righteous person. In this drug testing department, there are many fugitives who enjoy humiliating others. The colonel of the drug testing department also turned a blind eye to these things. As long as no one was involved, he had nothing to do with them. It was just a farce of dying people. Half a year ago, He Pinyin's predecessor came to the drug testing department and was targeted by this group of people. His predecessor was a scholar with a weak physique. Even though he was the opponent of these despicable individuals like wolves and tigers, he still tried to persuade others with reason. Despite the chaos of reason, he still couldn't avoid being bullied. Fortunately, Zhang San took action and defeated these despicable individuals, saving his predecessor. From then on, He Pinyin was covered by Zhang San. "Hey, don't eat it for now, help me take a look at this." As he spoke, Zhang San secretly took out a letter from his pocket and handed it to him. The drug testing department has rules that prohibit any items from entering or leaving, but in reality, as long as you are willing to spend money, it is still possible to ask the captain to bring a letter in and out. "Oh, Auntie has written again." He Pinyin put down his chopsticks and casually wiped his hands on his clothes, then took the envelope and opened it. His predecessor was a scholar, and his memory still retained the words of this world, so when reading letters, there was no obstacle. "Saner, everything is fine for your mother. Don't worry, you are in the testing department. Take good care of yourself and strive to come out as soon as possible." Every word and sentence merged into 1,000 words, like a trickle that turned into a mother's concern for her child, flowing into Zhang San's heart. "Mother, the child is unfilial." An 8-foot man from Zhang Santang was crying uncontrollably like a child. He Pinyin couldn't help but let out a long sigh. He could only offer warm words of comfort, but he didn't know what to say. After all, he was also imprisoned and had no time to worry about himself. 3 days later Yidan took a pill with a cold and gloomy aura, and suddenly felt a cold and gloomy aura circulating throughout his body. His whole body was like falling into an ice cellar, and his spirit was on the verge of collapse in a daze. Yidan's divine soul came to the front of the Yidan Pavilion again. On Yunlong Mountain in Longzhou, there is a century-old evil spirit that has been haunting the mountain, using illusions to plot the lives of passing merchants. After devouring strangers, the cultivation of evil spirits increased greatly, and their courage also grew stronger. In the blue sky and white sun, they dared to enter Xinhua County to kidnap and eat people, causing unbearable suffering for the people. They sued the Yamen. The local demon subduing department and the demon eliminating department teamed up to fight against evil spirits on Yunlong Mountain, and finally captured and brought to justice. After being executed on the spot, the spirit material of the evil ghost's body was sent to the Changsheng Hall. The alchemist of the medicine refining department used a 100-year-old evil ghost as the main medicine to create the Yin Sha Dan in the Yidan Pavilion. A balance is used, and 3 stars weigh blessings, rewards, and longevity. The balance rod rises and falls, connecting heaven and earth, and 1 rod reveals the weight of the pill. The weight of Yin Sha Dan given by the scale is 429 coins. The weight of this Yin Sha Dan is higher than that of the Jing Yuan Dan obtained 72 earthly demonic arts. Soul Mastery. Most living beings in the world, whether humans or monsters, have divine souls. Soul-capturing techniques can confuse the divine souls of living beings, allowing the subject to be at their mercy and reveal their secrets. Exiting from the Yidan Pavilion, Yidan realized that Captain Ma and Yao Tong had already left and were nowhere to be found. He sat cross-legged by the door, listening attentively to the nearby movements. 2 hours later, it wasn't until Zhang San next door went out and had a fight with the mischievous soldiers from the 2nd department that Ma Xiaowei and Yao Tong appeared. Brother Zhang. Yidan sat at the door, shouting to Zhang San. Yidan, you're sitting here doing this. At first glance, Zhang San met the eerie green light in Yidan's eyes, and his intended words were immediately interrupted. His eyes froze and he stood there, lost in thought. What's your name? My name is Zhang San. Where do you live at home? Qian County. Why did you enter the drug testing department? Because of killing. At this moment, Zhang Sanmian suddenly had bulging veins and was extremely ferocious. His divine soul broke free from the control of the soul-capturing technique and regained consciousness. Puff. The soul-capturing technique was broken, and Yidan's qi and blood flowed back into his body. His chest felt a burst of frustration, and he almost vomited a mouthful of old blood. Yidan, are you okay? What did you ask me just now? Zhang San rubbed the back of his head and asked with some confusion. Did you just get a heavy stick and feel a little dizzy? It's okay, I just saw Brother Zhang passing by and casually said, let's go to the cafeteria together later. Yidan smiled awkwardly, but he didn't expect that the first time he used the Dementor technique, he was broken free by the subject. However, through this attempt, he also gained an understanding of the rules for using soul mastery, and can use it freely for those with lower divine soul strength than himself. If the strength of the divine soul is the same as oneself, there is a high chance of breaking free. If the divine soul is stronger than oneself, it is impossible to successfully cast the law, and may even be backfired by the subject. Although Zhang San is an ordinary person, he has been practicing martial arts for many years, has a foundation in martial arts, and his divine soul is stronger than ordinary people. Compared with Yidan's divine soul who has taken the wash marrow pill, he is only half a pound, which is why his spell casting failed. On the 2nd day, Mao hour. Ma Xiaowei and Yao Tong appeared at the entrance of Yidan on time. When they saw that Yidan was still alive, Yao Tong's eyes flashed with a subtle surprise, and Yidan accurately caught them. It seems like it's you. He Pinyin silently said in his heart that a plan had already come to mind. Seeing that he was not dead, Captain Ma stood far from the door, monitoring the duties of the captain. He only supervised whether the medication children and test takers followed the normal procedures during the medication process, and confirmed the life and death of the test takers. As for recording the feelings and efficacy of the test taker after taking the medication, it is not within his supervision scope. As Yao Tong approached step by step, He Pinyin deliberately took out his feet, which had been nurtured for 6 days, from his cloth shoes. Suddenly, the whole room was filled with fragrance. Captain Ma, disgusted, slapped his hand and moved directly from the door to the outside. Xiao Yaodong's responsibility lies with him, and he must come to He Pinyin's side. He had to stop in the distance and scold, "Put on your shoes quickly." When He Pinyin put on his shoes, Ma Xiaowei no longer approached and just stood outside the door waiting. Xiao Yaotong walked up to He Pinyin alone. "Little fairy, look at my eyes, they seem a bit red and swollen." Just as Yao Tong looked into He Pinyin's eyes, the soul-capturing technique was activated at the right time, causing him to fall into a state of stagnation. Xiao Xiantong, after taking the Yin Sha pill, that's mainly what happened. He Pinyin said as he wrote something on the book that the medicine boy carried with him. Captain Ma glanced over here without much suspicion. These medicinal children inquired about their pill-taking status every day and were already tired of recording their work. If there are people who can write on their own, they are happy to have someone take care of them. On the book, He Pinyin wrote a paragraph, and Yao Tong wrote another paragraph. The two of them quickly filled a page. After everything he wanted to know was written in the book, He Pinyin controlled Yao Tong to tear off this page and quietly handed it to him. Then, he filled in the medication symptoms in the book and removed the soul-capturing technique. "Is it okay?" At this moment, Captain Ma and others became impatient and urged. Yao Tong rubbed his head and looked at the contents already registered in the book. Without a doubt, he hurriedly followed Ma Xiaowei to Zhang San's quiet room. "It's actually him." After the two of them left, He Pinyin looked at the torn pages of the book in his hand and couldn't figure it out in his heart. End of this chapter. Chapter 4. Good news, bad news. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 4. Good news, bad news. The book page in hand mainly reveals two pieces of information: good news, bad news. The bad news is that this little medicine boy secretly poisoned himself with pills, not by himself, but by following the order of the alchemist Lu Xiancher from the drug testing department. Although Lu Xiancher was only in the middle and lower ranks among the hundreds of scholars in the drug testing department, he was still an unbeatable presence for He Pinyin at this time. The good news is that he secretly poisoned himself with pills, which had nothing to do with Captain Ma, and he was unaware of it. Why did Lu Xiancher kill himself? For him, he was like an ant, completely insignificant. When He Pinyin asked Xiao Yaotong, he also raised this question, but Xiao Yaotong was not clear about it and only acted according to orders. For them, drugging a drug tester to death is a very ordinary thing that doesn't require much thought. Mo Fei. He Pinyin's eyes flickered as he thought of a possibility. Since that's the case, Master Lu Xian cannot give up easily and will definitely take action in the future. However, among the drug testing department, there are many supervisory officers, and even immortal masters are not convenient to use magical methods to kill themselves. They will only use some more covert and gentle methods. For example, poisoning with pills. When He Ping settled down, he suddenly became enlightened. As long as he didn't face it head-on, he would poison it with pills. He is eager for it. 3 days later, Yao Tong presented a pill called Guiling Dan, which has a mild effect and can prolong life. Has the other party changed their mind? In a moment of surprise, He Pinyin suddenly noticed that the enhancement of his 5 senses allowed his eyes to penetrate the surface patterns of the Turtle Age pill and discover that deep inside the pill, there were faint shades of light red powder mixed in. Heading red. His heart was pounding uncontrollably. He Pinyin's father, He Liyun, owned a medicinal herb shop. He Pingyan grew up in a medicinal herb shop and was familiar with the bloodthirsty heading hong. Whether to eat or not is a question. He Pingyan, immortal master, sympathizes with you for trying too many medicines recently. I am giving you the mild guiling pill to help you recover. Do you have any concerns? Seeing that He Pingyan remained motionless, Yao Tong quickly explained why Pingyan was worried about the excessive efficacy of the pill. In his view, the heading hong hidden in the turtle age pill is small in quantity and tasteless, making it difficult to detect. Even if discovered, a small amount of heading red can easily be explained to Captain Ma. Daxuan already has a prescription for treating diseases with trace amounts of heading hong. How could I have any concerns, immortal master? Being able to consider for me amidst your busy schedule really leaves me deeply moved. As soon as he finished speaking, He Pingyan swallowed the turtle Ling Dan in one gulp. Seeing He Pingyan swallow guiling pill, Yao Tong felt relieved and quickly left with Captain Ma. And He Pingyan, who swallowed the turtle age pill, had already felt the toxicity of heading hong taking effect, and his limbs began to twitch uncontrollably when urged by Yao Tong. He had already made a decision in his heart. Poison is also medicine. Although heading hong is highly toxic, it is also a type of medicine. As long as it is medicine, Yidan Pavilion can collect it. A dizzy sensation struck, and he had already appeared at the entrance of Yidan Pavilion, feeling a daze in front of him. Qingzhou, Huangxian County, Donglai County. Known for its rumored appearance near the overseas fairy mountain Penglai. At the seaside of Huangxian County, there are blue waves for thousands of miles, and the wind and waves are calm. On the beach by the east coast, a little turtle had just struggled to break through its shell and was about to crawl into the sea when it was caught by several playful children playing around the beach, playing recklessly and dying on the spot. At this moment, a middle-aged man approached from a distance and sternly stopped several mischievous children, saved the little turtle, and put it into the sea. More than 60 years had passed in the blink of an eye, and the middle-aged man had already passed away. His great-grandson, a 7 or 8-year-old boy, was playing by the seaside and was accidentally swept away by the waves, with his life in jeopardy. Suddenly, the little boy felt as if his body was being lifted by a huge disc. When he opened his eyes, he saw a large sea turtle about 2 zhang wide, which could swallow him alive just by its mouth. When the little boy thought he had just escaped from the water and was about to be swallowed into the turtle's belly, the turtle skillfully swam its 4 claws and sent him to the shore. The little boy, who had survived the disaster, returned to the shore grateful to the turtle and bowed in gratitude to it. Unexpectedly, the turtle spoke out. Mr. Lin saved me from water and fire 60 years ago. Today, he saved you just to repay his kindness. If the Lin family encounters difficulties in the future, they only need to come to the beach and shout 3 times Leo, and they will definitely come to help. After the little boy returned, he told his family about this matter, and the middle-aged man back then was Mr. Lin, as the turtle demon Leo had spoken of. From then on, whenever there was something difficult for the Lin family to handle, they would turn to the turtle demon Leo for help, and the turtle demon Leo could always satisfy them. If the story ends like this, it can also be considered a beautiful story between humans and demons. Unfortunately, people's hearts change easily. 10 years later, the little boy grew up and was named Lin Xiang. He studied hard for many years, but unfortunately failed the imperial examination repeatedly. The magistrate of Huangxian County, Changsheng, has a strange disease with scales all over her body, which cannot be cured no matter how many famous doctors she seeks. The county magistrate had to post a notice that whoever could cure his daughter would marry her to him. After hearing about it, Lin Xiang went to the seaside to seek help from the turtle demon Leo. Leo asked Lin Xiang to cut a piece of meat from his hind leg, cook it, and let the county magistrate eat it. The strange disease could be cured. Sure enough, after eating turtle meat, the county magistrate Qianjin recovered without any medicine. The county magistrate did not break his promise and soon married his daughter to Lin Xiang, carefully nurturing and promoting her. After 3 years, Lin Xiang went to high school and was assigned to the neighboring county town, becoming a 7th-grade county magistrate. The Changsheng Palace has its own guards in all counties and counties of Daxuan, and there is a 10,000 spirits list in every place. The turtle demon pill ranks among the top 100 on the 10,000 spirits list, with exceptionally generous rewards. After Lin Xiang became the county magistrate, he couldn't hide these news from him, but at first, he didn't have any ulterior motives. It was not until he became a small county magistrate for 20 years that he realized that even if he was honest and upright, and the people in the county lived and worked in peace and contentment, he could only be a small county magistrate for a lifetime. After much thought, only by offering the turtle demon pill can one be promoted beyond the norm and gain the attention of the Shangwan. Knowing that taking away the turtle demon pill would inevitably lead to the death of the turtle demon Leo, but Lin Xiang had been struggling as the county magistrate for over 20 years. Once he caught a glimmer of hope, his desires burned like wildfire. On this day, the moon was dark and the wind was high, and the Lin family's dog started barking again. Lin Xiang shouted 3 times at the seaside, "Leo!" Within 10 breaths, the turtle demon's body, which was nearly 3 zhang in radius, came riding the wind and waves. Lin Xiang is very cunning, claiming that his mother at home has fallen seriously ill and her life is not long. Previously, I heard from Leo that his demon pill could cure all illnesses as long as it was held in the mouth of a mortal for a day. He wanted to use the demon pill to save his mother's life. Although the turtle demon felt a bit reluctant in his heart, he reluctantly agreed to Mr. Lin's life-saving kindness and Lin Xiang's filial piety in saving his mother. However, according to a 3-chapter agreement with him, the demon pill must be returned within 3 days, otherwise it will be at risk of its life. When Lin Xiang saw it relax, he naturally agreed and claimed that it would not be returned within 3 days, but would definitely be returned within 2 days. 2 days later, the turtle demon waited at the beach for a whole day, until less than 5 hours before the agreed time, and Lin Xiang had not yet returned the demon pill. Seeing that his life was in jeopardy, he disregarded the rule that the East Sea demon tribe could not enter the Great Xian Kingdom. He drove the demon cloud, transformed into a human form, and flew towards the Lin Xiang family. When I arrived at Lin Xiang's house, I found out that he was not even in his hometown, and his old mother had already passed away 4 years ago. The turtle demon was shocked and realized that he had fallen for Lin Xiang's scheme. He quickly used the method of bloodline to sense the demon pill and found that it had been taken to the Qingzhou governor's office. Time is urgent, it doesn't care about hiding its tracks, spits out 3 mouthfuls of essence and blood, uses the method of blood escape, and turns into a bloody stream of light flying towards Qingzhou. End of this chapter. Chapter 5. Longevity Technique. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5 Longevity Technique. 3 hours later, the turtle demon Leo rushed to the sky above the Qingzhou governor's office. The demon clouds were dense, and blood was shining everywhere. Its actions had long caught the attention of the captain of the demon hunting department and the immortal masters of the demon suppression department. Before it could even press the cloud, 4 demon catching captains had already jumped into the air to greet them, and the battle was about to break out. I am Li Ao, a small turtle from the East China Sea. I have been practicing for 100 years and have never harmed anyone. I only want to retrieve the demon pill. Please help me, adults. There is no demon pill you are looking for here. If you hurry back, you can still spare your life. Otherwise, you will definitely be executed without mercy. There is no reason to take back the demon pill when it reaches the Changsheng Palace. The last glimmer of hope vanished, and the turtle demon knew that there was no luck. At the critical moment of her life, she stopped talking nonsense and with a blink of an eye, her body had transformed into a giant turtle the size of 100 zhang. With a cloud of dark clouds in the sky, she rushed towards the Governor-General's office. Bold. The 4 demon-catching captains did not expect that the turtle demon dared to forcefully attack the Daxuan government office. Jinyuan gathered and burst out a black long sword that was more than 10 zhang long, with a shocking and earth-shattering momentum, cutting towards the turtle demon from all directions, sealing it off in all directions. Boom! A deafening roar came, and 4 broken gold and jade swords slashed against the turtle shell, emitting a dazzling light and a huge gust of wind. However, when the light and gust dissipated, the scene before them surprised the 4 demon-catching captains. I saw all the head, tail, and limbs of the turtle demon shrink into the shell, and there was no damage on top of the shell. A faint shadow of a snake-headed turtle body flashed on the surface of the shell, quickly disappearing into the shell. This is. Before the 4 demon-catching captains could react, the turtle monster opened its mouth and a towering wave appeared out of thin air, breaking into 4 blue waves and throwing them with immense force towards the 4 demon-catching captains. Taking advantage of the 4 demon-catching captains being overwhelmed, the turtle demon took advantage of the situation and flew again towards the Bureau of Political Affairs until it was less than 300 zhang away. It suddenly sucked again with a big gulp, and a huge suction swept out of its mouth, instantly sucking the demon pill from the governor's office back into its stomach. Just as the turtle demon was preparing to escape, draw the ground as a prison. With a majestic sound, a force from heaven and earth fell around the turtle demon. The turtle demon felt the mystery of the power of heaven and earth, and after regaining the demon pill, he spat out 3 mouthfuls of essence and blood, turning into a bloody escape light, ready to escape from the political envoy. Dong! In front of the turtle demon, there was nothing, but it was as if it had hit a mountain, making a deafening noise. The escape light was interrupted, revealing the turtle demon's body. The little demon only wants to retrieve the demon pill and has no intention of hurting others. Please let it go. The turtle demon looked at an elegant middle-aged man suddenly appearing in mid-air, dressed in a crimson official uniform, and his eyes were filled with fear. You are originally a demon tribe from the East China Sea. You entered the territory of Daxuan without authorization and attacked the Daxuan government office. It is already a capital offense that cannot be escaped, and you will be captured without restraint. I can spare you from death. The elegant middle-aged man stood in the void, his hands casually carried behind him, without emitting any terrifying aura, but it made the turtle demon, whose strength had greatly increased after regaining the demon pill, even more frightened. But fear returned to fear, and the turtle demon did not intend to surrender. The demon tribe that fell into the Daxuan government never returned alive. Who? The turtle demon swayed its limbs, and suddenly a strong wind blew. Dark clouds covered the sky and sun, and a strong water spiritual energy began to gather. I still want to struggle on the brink of death. The elegant middle-aged man furrowed his brow slightly and reached forward with his right hand, flipping upwards. Clouds and rain. As the mysterious power of heaven and earth descended, the strong wind suddenly stopped, the dark clouds dispersed, and the remaining water spiritual energy quickly condensed into tens of thousands of small water swords, piercing towards the turtle demon. Upon seeing the situation, the turtle demon immediately repeated its old trick, retracting its head, tail, and limbs into the turtle shell. The phantom of a snake-headed turtle body reappeared, and the surface of the turtle shell suddenly showed a green light, blocking thousands of water swords from outside. Among the lies. Upon seeing the turtle demon hide inside its shell again, the elegant middle-aged man raised his right hand and gently waved it. An invisible and intangible force from heaven and earth ignored the turtle shell's defense and directly infiltrated the turtle demon's body, squeezing the flesh and blood inside its shell into a pile of rotten meat. With the death of the turtle demon, the prohibition of painting the earth as a prison also lost its effectiveness. The huge turtle shell fell from the sky and smashed towards a courtyard in the office of the Governor-General. Governor, please save me. Seeing the turtle shell falling like a shooting star, one person in the courtyard couldn't dodge and called for help. It was Lin Xiang who came to deliver the demon pill. Help you? The elegant middle-aged man asked back with a smile on his face, watching helplessly as the turtle shell fell and smashed the forest into a pile of red and white objects. The 4 demon-catching captains, upon seeing this, felt a chill in their hearts and quickly knelt on the ground, saying, "I am incompetent and did not stop the turtle demon. Please forgive me, the governor." "No problem, there is a thin bloodline of Xuanwu within this turtle demon's body. It's understandable that you can't stop it. However, how are you planning to report this matter?" The elegant middle-aged man changed his tone and turned his head to look at the four of them, asking calmly. "Lin Xiang lured the Eastern Sea turtle demon and caused a fatal accident. The Grand Marshal beheaded the turtle demon to eliminate harm for the people." The four colonels were spinning their minds, and in an instant, they had already figured out how to answer. "Well, you guys get up." The elegant middle-aged man nodded and continued, "The birthday of the Holy One is approaching. Take out the turtle demon pill, and I will personally go to the capital to send a gift to the Holy One." The demon pill was taken away by a refined middle-aged man, while the flesh and blood of the turtle demon that was shattered were sent to the headquarters of the Xianyang City Changsheng Hall and trained into the turtle age pill. Pinyin stood in front of the weighing scale and let out a long sigh, both lamenting the misfortune of the turtle and demon, and lamenting the hidden dragon and crouching tiger of the great mystery. Those with high strength are unknown. My current strength, not to mention the elegant middle-aged man and turtle demon in the picture, even those four school captains, can easily kill me. Thinking of this, Pinyin became even more determined in his heart and must continue to persevere. As long as Yidan is in his hands and he is constantly testing drugs in the drug testing department, one day he will become the top existence in this world. Firmly determined by his own ideas, he put the turtle age pill in his hand into the weighing scale and received a reward. The longevity technique. The techniques rewarded by Yidan Pavilion have no substance, and all the scriptures and cultivation insights of the techniques are all in Pinyin's mind. Just practice a few more times to reach the level of perfection. The law of longevity is eternal. Heaven and earth are able to grow and last for a long time, because they do not grow on their own, so they can grow. With Pinyin operating the longevity technique, between heaven and earth, the spiritual power of the five elements of gold, wood, water, fire, and earth mixed with yin and yang. The seven spiritual powers were attracted by his acupoints and slowly entered his elixir field. There is not only no conflict between the seven spiritual powers, but they are also very harmonious. One Sunday, 2 Sundays after 36 weeks of cultivation and operation, Pinyin's spiritual power has adapted to this cycle, and he no longer needs to focus on cultivation. His spiritual power can also automatically operate according to the established trajectory. Waves of 7-colored spiritual power continuously roamed through his body, expanding his meridians and dantian. The spiritual power grew at a visible speed within the dantian. Practice has no time, 1 moment a day. On the second day at midnight, the footsteps of Ma Xiaowei and Yao Tong woke Pinyin up from his cultivation and he quickly lay in bed pretending to be dead. Number 66, Pinyin, have you died yet? Ma Xiaowei and Yao Tong shouted out as usual outside the house, but when no one answered, he pushed the door open and entered. End of this chapter. Chapter 6. Fighting Poison with Poison. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6. Fighting Poison with Poison. After the two of them entered the room, they saw Pinyin lying motionless in bed and thought he was already dead. The drug testing department has hundreds of people, and several drug testers die every day. The death of Pinyin is a normal thing for Captain Ma, so he has no special reactions. He is prepared to conduct routine checks and can be handed over to the drug refining department. All the corpses of the test takers after their death are handled uniformly by the refining department. A hint of joy appeared in Yao Tong's eyes. Once Pinyin died, he could go to Master Lu Xian's place to receive the reward. Thinking of this, he couldn't help but take a few steps faster. First, Captain Ma walked up to Pinyin and reached out to pinch his pulse. "Mr. Ma, there is no pulse and no breathing." Yao Tong shook his head at Captain Ma, indicating that Pinyin had already cooled down. "Listen to your heartbeat again." Captain Ma ordered that these are the 3 steps that every drug tester must check after death. Mr. Ma, your heart is beating. Yao Tong confirmed his pulse and breathing, and at this moment, he believed in his heart that He Pingyan had died. Before his head touched He Pingyan's chest, he blurted out. Cough. He Pingyan was emitting a foul-smelling thick phlegm, which happened to spray out of his mouth and hit the face of Yao Tong. Oh, ghosts. Yao Tong let out a scream of fear, ignoring the filth on his face, and jumped up to Ma Xiaowei's side. It's not a ghost, it's a person who hasn't died yet. Captain Ma has been in battle for a long time and his face remains unchanged. De Xian has never seen any demons or monsters before, and even if a real ghost appears, he dares to strike with a single sword. Moreover, he could tell at a glance that He Pingyan had not died. He disgusted the medicine boy and pushed him aside, afraid that the thick phlegm on his face would stain his red armor. I almost suffocated to death. He Pingyan took a deep breath, turned his head, and spat out another mouthful of thick phlegm on the ground. Mr. Ma, little fairy, you're here. At this moment, he seemed to have just seen the 2 of them and quickly got up from the bed in a hurry. Perhaps his body was too weak and he didn't stand up several times. Mr. Ma, little fairy, forgive me for my weak body and inability to stand up. He Pingyan said apologetically. It's okay, as long as you have nothing to do. Captain Ma gave He Pingyan a meaningful glance, but didn't say much and retreated to the door. At this moment, Yao Tong realized that He Pingyan had not died. In his mind, eating Hedinghong would undoubtedly lead to the death of He Pingyan, a first-order mortal. In addition, when he came in and saw He Pingyan lying in bed, without breathing or pulse, he had already preconceived that He Pingyan was dead. In addition, considering his young age and having never experienced strong winds and waves, he was frightened and embarrassed by He Pingyan. What exactly is going on? Yao Tong waved his hand and wiped away the thick phlegm from his face. He felt like vomiting in his stomach and wanted to curse loudly, but he didn't know what to curse at. You can't curse, you've eaten Hedinghong, how could you still be alive? I'm not sure, but after taking the guiling pill yesterday, I felt like I was convulsing all over. Maybe my life is not long. However, there was also a strong medicinal force that was constantly repairing my subordinate's body, so halfway through my dreams, I fainted in bed. It wasn't until just now that I felt someone touch my subordinate's body and shook the thick phlegm stuck in my throat that I finally coughed up 2 mouthfuls of phlegm and woke up. He Pingyan said half-truthfully that according to the current medical practices of the great Xiangua, they have not fully unraveled the mysteries of the human body, so there are not many loopholes in He Pingyan's statement. Moreover, turtle age pill does have a strong power of turtle demon flesh and blood, which can also dissolve some of the poison. In addition, since ancient times, women in Daxuan have consumed trace amounts of Hedinghong to whiten their skin. Even if Hedinghong is used cleverly, it can treat various sores and toothache. Even some modern cancers of blue star can be treated with Hedinghong. After listening to his explanation, Dao Tong reached out to explore He Pingyan's pulse and found that his pulse was steady and strong, even stronger than before. Since that's the case, then you should take good care of yourself and not let down the turtle age pill that the immortal teacher gave you. Dao Tong's eyes were filled with regret. He had already determined that the dosage of Hedinghong was too low and did not achieve the goal of killing He Pingyan. Instead, it was partially detoxified by Guiling Dan, and neutralized with the poison in the body, even partially detoxified. However, He Pingyan was originally going to suffocate, but because he shook his body, he woke up from his coma, spat out thick phlegm, and regained vitality. This can also explain why he had not breathed or had a pulse before. Thinking about this, and then thinking about the boasting he had made in front of Master Lu, Dao Tong wished he could slap him. What a big deal. Watching Captain Ma and Dao Tong leave, He Pingyan's originally confused gaze regained its expression and he began to calculate in his heart. On Dao Tong's side, they should have already passed the test, but next time, their methods will definitely be even more brutal. But as long as they don't use physical attacks, they don't have to worry too much. On the contrary, it was Captain Ma's meaningful gaze just now that made He Pingyan somewhat puzzled. Could it be that he saw something? After much contemplation, there is only one possibility, as he has gained spiritual power through practicing the longevity technique, and some changes in his body may have been detected by Captain Ma. Thinking of this, He Pingyan quickly listened attentively. When he heard that Captain Ma and the others had walked away, he walked out of the quiet room and knocked on the door of room 65. "Brother Zhang, are you still alive? Are you still alive?" He Pingyan realized that being questioned like this by Captain Ma every day had almost become a habit for him. "Is it safe? Come in quickly." Upon hearing this, He Pingyan pushed open the door and saw the burly Zhang San sitting on the bed, his head almost touching the roof. Next to him was a sea bowl filled with half a bowl of water, probably just finished trying the medicine. "Brother Zhang, I came to see you this time just to ask for your advice on the martial arts technique I mentioned earlier. You kid finally figured it out and came to me for cultivation." Zhang San smiled and said, his fist the size of a sandbag slammed heavily into He Pingyan's chest. He Pingyan pretended to stagger when he felt the strength of his shot, and roast in his heart. Fortunately, his body has become stronger after the baptism of the pill of washing the marrow and the long life formula. If the weak body of his predecessor were to be hammered down with Zhang Sanyi's fist, he would have died without the need for Lu Xianxia and Yao Tong to poison him. After Zhang San finished speaking, he rummaged through the boxes and cabinets in the room, searching for them. At this moment, He Pingyan had the time to take a look at Zhang San's room, which was similar in size and specifications to his own quiet room, but the environment made it difficult to look directly at. "I saw a small mountain piled up in the corner with empty wine bottles and leftover bones. Clothes were scattered everywhere, except for a straight line from the bed to the door. The rest of the room was in a mess, making it impossible to rest. A strange and pungent odor condensed into substance slowly floated up inside the room. If it weren't for He Pingyan holding his breath with spiritual power, he was afraid he would faint on the spot. No wonder Captain Ma doesn't enter Zhang San's room every time he tries medicine. Found it." Just as he was about to persuade Zhang San to tidy up his room, Zhang San finally found a quaint classic book among the layers of garbage and jumped to He Pingyan's side. Mang Yo Jin. End of this chapter. Chapter 7. Dao Fa Qing Jing. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 7. Dao Fa Qing Jing. He Pingyan took over the classics, and on the yellowed pages of the book were written the three big characters of Mang Yo Jin, with dragons flying and phoenixes dancing. "Pingyan, I can tell you that this cultivation method is not simple. It was passed down by my ancestors and has been passed down for more than 10 generations. It is said that as long as one works hard to cultivate, it is not impossible to become a land immortal." Zhang San highly praised the techniques in his hands and boasted wildly. "Brother Zhang, what is the name of this cultivation technique?" He Pingyan asked with a smile. "Hey, you kid, you're not unaware that I'm not destined to study. These 3 words know me, but I don't know them." At first, Zhang Sangang's voice became louder and louder, but then something came to his mind. His voice became quieter and quieter. "Brother Zhang, it has been passed down for more than 10 generations, and I don't even know the name of the martial arts. It's a bit hard to justify, right?" He Pingyan looked at Zhang San with a smile, until he felt embarrassed and scratched his head. To be honest with you, I picked up this cultivation technique on the road while I was going to the countryside to kill pigs. But I didn't lie to you, this technique really works. I have loved playing with swords and sticks since I was young, but I struggled with the lack of guidance from a famous teacher. I found that this book doesn't have any characters and only draws a few characters, so I just followed and practiced casually. Unexpectedly, after practicing for half a month, I was able to break stones with my bare hands and leap 2 zhang in one leap. If my mother didn't let me move when I committed a crime in those years, I would rely on a dozen kwai, hey, ordinary people, I really wouldn't give it to him. Okay, Brother Zhang, I have practiced this technique. If anyone asks, you can tell me that a month ago, you had already taught me the power of Mangniu. Without waiting for him to finish speaking, Pinyin took the strength of the Mangniu into his arms. Zhang San was able to dominate among the drug testers thanks to his reckless and powerful abilities, so his martial arts skills are definitely not a problem. Seeing Pinyin agree, Zhang San's fierce face burst into laughter, becoming even more terrifying. That's right. After practicing this technique, not to mention anything else, living an extra half-year can also help me read more letters. After listening to Zhang San's last words, Pinyin was speechless for a moment. He didn't expect that he had become a tool for reading letters for this guy. Back in the day, when my predecessor had just entered prison, I met someone like Zhang San and then simultaneously entered the drug testing department, which can be considered as sharing weal and woe. Later, I didn't know how he had colluded with the colonel of the drug testing department, and had a channel to exchange letters with his mother. So, I asked Pinyin to help him read and reply to the letters. And on his mother's side, there were naturally gentlemen from private schools in the county who helped write letters and reply. This is also good, at least it shows that he is not being good to himself for no reason. There is no love for no reason in the world. When Pinyin thought of this, he felt a little relieved, afraid that he had nothing to offer, which made him even more uneasy coming out of Zhang San's place. Pinyin returned to the house and looked at the wild bull strength in his hand, with a hint of a smile on his face. Yao Tong and Ma Xiaowei completed their duty today and hurriedly bid farewell to Ma Xiaowei. They walked through the long corridor of the drug testing department and arrived at an alchemy room in the ground refining department. In the alchemy room, green smoke emanates, and the fragrance of medicine bursts in waves. A middle-aged Taoist with a thin face and dressed in a blue Taoist robe was sitting upright next to a tall alchemy furnace, closing his eyes and regulating his breath. Master, things are not going well. As soon as Yao Tong stepped in, he panicked and called out. Daoyuan, didn't I tell you before, Master? The only way to cultivate Taoism is through the method of tranquility. What are you panicking about when you encounter something? Punish you with the silent heart technique 100 times. But, Master, let's talk after we finish memorizing. Yes. Ice and cold for eternity, all things are particularly quiet. The heart should be calm with qi, and I hope to be alone and divine. After reciting the meditation technique 100 times, Dao Yuan's impatient mood did indeed calm down a lot. Now let's talk about it, what's going on? It's so impatient. The middle-aged Taoist asked slowly. Master, that Pinyin not only didn't die, but also seemed to have cleared some of the erysipelas. What? How could this be possible? The middle-aged Taoist who was sitting steadily on the fishing platform just now seemed to have burned his buttocks and jumped up in one fell swoop. Can you explain it to me in detail? Did he not take the turtle age pill? The middle-aged Taoist's eyes were full of disbelief, his veins bulging in both hands, causing pain in Daoyuan's shoulders. I saw him eat it with my own eyes, and this is what happened. After hearing Daoyuan finish speaking, his doubts eased slightly, but his brow furrowed tightly. The young master is urging him closely. If this person is still alive, there will inevitably be a punishment. On the second day at Mao hour. Ha! Ma Xiaowei and Yao Tong were still some distance away from room 66 when they heard the hoarse cries of Pinyin coming from inside the room. When he arrived at the door, he found that the door of the quiet room was not closed. Pinyin was naked, revealing his slender ribs, charging or hitting in the quiet room. Seeing the two of them arrive, Pinyin quickly stopped and wiped the sweat from his face, respectfully saying, Mr. Ma, little fairy, you are here. What are you doing? Yao Tong frowned and asked strangely. Oh, last month, Brother Zhang next door passed me a copy of Mangniu Jin. I started practicing when I had nothing to do, but I didn't expect that in the past few days, my body really seemed to be much stronger. What kind of a Mangniu Jin, or Red Niu Jin? Your body has improved, but it's just because you took the Gui Ling Dan practiced by Master Lu, which weakened the poison in your body. It has nothing to do with this technique. Yao Tong sneered a few words, stopped asking further questions, and picked up a book to record his feeling of taking Guiling pill. And let you jump around for a few more days standing on the side. Captain Ma remained silent, and the doubts in his eyes seemed to ease a bit. After the recording was completed and the two of them left, Pinyin listened attentively. Sure enough, he heard Captain Ma asking Zhang San next door when he had imparted the Mangniu power, and his heart immediately calmed down. He borrowed Mangniu Jin from Zhang San, not for cultivation, but to conceal the traces of his own cultivation. The drug testing department does not prohibit drug testers from practicing. If they can live a few more years, they can also help them become guinea pigs for a few more years. Why not do it? Once upon a time, there was a fierce person in the drug testing department, who was exceptionally talented and skilled in martial arts. After 8 years of drug use in the drug testing department, there was only 2 years left before he could survive and leave. Unfortunately, although he has a martial arts cultivation and can use the true element to refine elixirs, the accumulated elixirs over the past 8 years are too vast. In the end, not only could he not refine the poison, but also because of the tenacious vitality of the martial arts master, the poison erupted and he couldn't die completely. His whole body was rotten, and he cried uncontrollably, which was extremely tragic. Half a month later, he begged the supervising captain to execute him. When the supervising captain opened his body, he found that his internal organs had been corroded by erysipelas, and his intestines had penetrated and rotted. 2 days later Dao Yuan and Ma Xiaowei came together, holding a pill box in their hands. Pinyin, it's time to take the medicine. The medicine boy handed the medicine box to Pinyin, and inside the box was a deep blue pill. Pinyin gained more trust in Yidan after taking Hedinghong last time, and without hesitation, swallowed the pill in one gulp. After taking it, he was somewhat surprised. This pill not only has a small poison, but also contains weak spiritual energy, which can nourish the body and strengthen muscles and bones. Did Lu Xianshi and Dao Yuan modify it? You can't do anything when you see things, just give up poisoning me. End of this chapter. Chapter 8. Abnormal Events. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8 Abnormal Events. He looked at Dao Yuan in confusion, but the other party didn't even glance at him and followed Captain Ma away. After waiting for a while, Pinyin didn't feel like flying into the clouds. He knew that Yidan Gu would only appear when encountering harmful pills for the body. 3 days later Yao Tong brought a earthy yellow pill, which Pinyin swallowed in one gulp. It still had a mild effect and had been tested multiple times, making it a quasi-spiritual pill that could already be considered a finished product. 6 days later, it still remains the same. Pinyin actually couldn't sit still. Although this pill has a mild effect, does not harm the body, and can even cure some erysipelas, for him, the inability to activate Yidan Gu is the biggest harm. Although I have been practicing my longevity technique and my cultivation has been advancing rapidly recently, I can vaguely see through Zhang San's realm. However, for Pinyin, it is far from enough. Since seeing the elegant middle-aged man in the picture of the turtle demon, he has known that this world is far more mysterious and powerful than he imagined. This makes Pinyin eager to obtain powerful power and have some self-protection power. If something goes wrong, there will always be demons. Pinyin doesn't believe that Master Lu could easily let himself go. Lu Xianshi's pill room. Master, these past few days, I have seen it vividly. He has swallowed it all in one gulp without any color. Okay, let's count it up. It's almost time, let's proceed as planned. 9 days later, at the hour of Mao, Pinyin was practicing his wild ox strength in the house, waiting for the arrival of Captain Ma and Dao Yuan. Although this Mangniu power is a shield, as long as it is at the hour of Mao every day, Pinyin will definitely start practicing it. Firstly, he needs to show it to Captain Ma. Secondly, the longevity technique is mainly focused on spiritual power, and he does not have a suitable body refining technique at hand. He can also practice this Mangniu power first. He Pinyin, have you died yet? Every day, Captain Ma's doorbell sounded like a funeral bell, and Dao Yuan and Captain Ma appeared at the entrance of He Pinyin at the same time. Here, this is today's pill. Yao Tong handed the pill box in his hand to He Pinyin. He Pinyin took the pill box, but his hand felt a slight wetness on it. He then scanned the hands of the medicinal child, as if a faint cold sweat was emerging. There's a problem with this medicine today. In the midst of lightning and fire, He Pinyin immediately understood that Master Lu was about to make a desperate attempt. He let go of the five senses a little and could feel the heartbeat of the medicinal child, which was noticeably faster than usual, and his breathing became much faster. With sharp eyes, he scanned the red pill inside the pill box, seemingly just an ordinary pill on the surface, but inside there was a different world. What's wrong with you? Take your medicine quickly. Dao Yuan saw that He Pinyin had not taken the medicine yet, so he quickly urged Dao. Yes, I'm going to take it. At this moment, He Pinyin suddenly raised the red pill and changed his tone. Lord Ma, I suspect this is a poison pill. He Pinyin suddenly reported loudly, catching Yaotong Daoyuan off guard. What? This is impossible. Who dares to use poison pills in the drug testing department? Isn't it deadly anymore? Captain Ma was greatly surprised. At the beginning of the establishment of the Changsheng Palace, it was to refine the elixir of immortality for Emperor Jiaming. There was already a strict order that anyone who dared to refine poison pills in the Changsheng Palace would be killed without mercy. He Pinyin, stop fooling around. How could this spiritual pill be a poison pill? Did you suffer from hysteria again? Dao Yuan sternly rebuked Dao, which also made Ma Xiaowei suspicious. He Pinyin previously claimed to be He Anping, but was suspected by Captain Ma of having hysteria. Lord Ma, I dare to guarantee with my life that this pill is indeed a poisonous pill. He Pinyin said decisively. Seeing that his expression did not seem to be fake, while Dao Tong's expression was somewhat panicked, Ma Xiaowei finally had a hint of doubt in his heart. Since you say this is a poison pill, how can you prove it? Mr. Ma, I have been growing up in a pharmacy since I was young and have a clear understanding of the odors of all medicinal herbs. This pill appears as an ordinary spiritual pill on the surface, but is actually wrapped in a 7-step heartbreaking pill inside. As long as an ordinary person takes it, without taking 7 steps, they will definitely suffer from liver and intestines rupture, and their qi and blood will flow back and die. If Lord Ma doesn't believe it, please have the immortal master come here for a test and we will know. He Pinyin recounted that this pill was indeed wrapped in the 7 steps heartbreaking pill, but if it were an ordinary person, they wouldn't even be able to smell it. It was only after his strong 5 senses that he could see through the texture of the pill and, combined with his super strong sense of smell, ultimately determined that it was the 7 steps heartbreaking pill. Master Ma, don't believe him. Is an immortal master something that a despicable sinner can easily see? Dao Yuan is still vigorously arguing, but he will only strengthen Ma Xiaowei's determination to verify the pill. It's okay if no poison pill is found, but if it is discovered and not reported, it will be a capital offense of beheading. Ma Xiaowei did not have a deep friendship with Lu Xianshi and Dao Yuan, and even though they had a deep friendship, he dared not conceal the crime of beheading. The drug refining department is responsible for refining pills, the drug testing department is responsible for testing drugs, and the supervision department is dedicated to supervising pills. It is their responsibility to discover toxic pills. Captain Ma picked up a red bronze waist tag engraved with a crane from his waist and whispered a few words in a low voice. Without hesitation, 4 supervisory captains arrived in He Pinyin's quiet room. Outside the door, there were also some drug testers watching the excitement, pointing outside. However, due to the commanding presence of the supervising captain, they dared not approach. After a quarter of an hour, 2 immortal masters from the medicine refining department and 1 chief inspector from the supervision department arrived at the quiet room. At this moment, there were nearly 10 people standing in the quiet room, making it seem crowded, but the atmosphere was somewhat frozen. Ma Baoxian, do you think this is a poison pill? The general flag of supervision first broke the deadlock and looked at the poison pill in Captain Ma's hand, asking with great interest. The drug testing department is on duty, without the lively scene of the demon catching department executing demons and eliminating them 4 times, it is very boring. Encountering such an interesting thing by chance, for him, could just alleviate the loneliness and boredom of being on duty. Reply to Lord Shi, Ma is not familiar with pharmacology and cannot be certain. However, this kid claims to be proficient in pharmacology and speaks with certainty. Ma dare not make arbitrary decisions, so he asked Lord Zongqi and the 2 immortal masters to make a decision. Ma Baoxian, also known as Ma Xiaowei, respectfully replied, while also sharing He Pingyin's previous words with those present. After listening to Ma Baoxuan's words, Shi Zongqi took the pill into his hand and carefully examined it. His heart was already clear. Daoyuan, what do you say? Shi Zongqi handed the pill to the 2 immortal masters next to him for examination, and his sharp eyes scraped towards the edge of the path like blades. At this moment, Daoyuan stood there trembling with fear, no longer having the previous commanding presence in front of the drug tester. With a glare from Shi Zongqi's eyes, his martial arts aura burst forth, causing Daoyuan to be startled. He had forgotten all about his previously planned plan. Returning to my lord, this pill was given to me by Master Lu Xian, and I don't know either. Lord Zongqi, after our examination, we have found that this pill contains the 7 steps breaking intestine pill. This pill is extremely poisonous. After taking it, even the average martial artist's cultivation level is small, and it is difficult to escape death. The 2 alchemists from the alchemy department have also completed the inspection and handed back the 7 steps heartbreaking pill, which had its shell peeled off, to the hands of General Shi. Since that's the case, both personal and material evidence are present and cannot be denied. You 4, take Daoyuan away and interrogate him severely. Puff. Shi Zongqi had just finished speaking when Daoyuan's legs collapsed to the ground. Between his legs, a pale yellow liquid flowed out, and a strong odor floated in the air. The interrogation methods of the supervision department's interrogators are even more clear than He Pingyin's Daoyuan. As long as they enter the supervision department, even a successful immortal master cannot seek life or death. Take it away quickly. Shi Zongqi pinched his nose in disgust and waved his hand. Yes. The 4 colonels dragged the already collapsed Daoyuan out, and feces and urine flowed out of their legs. Ma Baoxian. I'm here. Bring 10 people and capture Lu Ling. If there is resistance, there will be no mercy in killing him. Yes. Captain Ma took orders and walked out of the room in a meteor-like manner. With a greeting, 10 guards, like wolves and tigers, immediately followed him and ran towards the medicine refining department. As the 2 immortal masters left, there were only Shi Zongqi and He Pingyin left in the room, and the atmosphere suddenly became somewhat ambiguous. You're very good. Shi Zongqi looked deeply at He Pingyin, put down an inexplicable sentence, and turned around to leave. He Pingyin. Wait, you all left. Who will clean up the shit and urine in this room? End of this chapter. Chapter 9. Truly rest assured. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9. Truly rest assured. On the 66th, He Pingyin, it's time to take medicine. On the 2nd day at Mao o'clock, Captain Ma arrived as scheduled with a new medicinal boy. Captain Ma, yesterday you didn't take the medicine. According to the rules of the trial drug company, you naturally need to make up for it today. Captain Ma said with a serious expression on his face. Since that's the case, of course we have to obey the rules. He Pingyin just pretended to ask. For him, taking medicine was already a last resort. I just wanted to test if there were still people secretly plotting against me. In fact, even if it were Lu Ling and Dao Yuan, if it weren't for their excessive actions, He Pingyan would have wanted to turn a blind eye. But in the end, he directly offered the 7 steps heartbreaking pill. If he takes it again and still lives, it clearly indicates that he has a strange treasure. At that time, I'm afraid it won't be sure Zongqi's ability to fool him with just one sentence. You're very good. Thinking of this, He Pingyan took the medicine box and swallowed the pill in one gulp. Seeing him take the pill, the medicine boy nodded and wanted to leave with Captain Ma. Yesterday's incident alarmed the commander and ordered a strict investigation. It has now been found out that it was Lu Ling, an alchemist of the drug refining department, who secretly refined the 7 steps breaking intestine pill. In order to test its toxicity, Dao Yuan brought it to the drug testing department for you to take. The 2 of them pleaded guilty and went to jail last night, so you don't have to worry anymore. Captain Ma had already walked to the door, as if suddenly thinking of something, and turned to He Pingyan and said. Thank you, Lord Ma. Thank you, General Shi. With you as the leader, I can rest assured. Are you really at ease? I really feel at ease. Seeing that He Pingyan's eyes didn't seem to be fake, Captain Ma left with the medicine boy. Seeing the 2 of them leave, He Pingyan lifted his originally lowered head and his eyes flashed with brilliance. What Captain Ma said earlier was full of loopholes. How brave is Lu Ling to risk the crime of beheading and come to the drug testing department to test the poison pill. Moreover, before delivering the poison pill, I made several attempts, first using a newly developed powerful medicine and a small amount of Hedinghong, and then repeatedly taking the quasi-spiritual medicine to make myself let go of my guard. Until the end, he boldly used the 7 steps heartbreaking pill, attempting to kill with just 1 pill. With so many means and so much scheming, if his goal is not to kill himself, who would believe it? And Lu Ling has no grievances or enmities with himself, why would he spare his life to poison himself? There is only one answer. These 2 people are also under the command of others, but they are both small subordinates. But at this moment, the commander of the Changsheng palace concluded that Lu Ling and Dao Yuan were completely unfounded, and the truth was no longer clear. And what Captain Ma just said was just telling himself that whether you believe it or not, this matter is settled like this. Even the Changsheng palace doesn't want to make a big fuss, indicating that the mastermind behind the scenes has a significant position and status. He Pingyan looked up at the roof of the quiet room, his sharp gaze seeming to penetrate the roof, piercing through the darkness, as if seeing a huge black shadow hidden above the ground, devouring someone. Regardless of who you are, water comes and earth hides, and soldiers come and block. Whatever means you have, just use them. He Pingyan smiled and swept away the gloom in his heart. The pill he took this time had a mild nature and the onset of erysipelas was relatively slow. It was not until then that the erysipelas in his body were about to erupt. His divine soul rushed up to the sky and arrived in front of the Yidan Pavilion. Liangzhou, Jing County. After 100 years of cultivation, the wolf demon has become an essence and often goes down the mountain to cause trouble to the people. The demon catching department and the demon suppressing department captain work together to capture him and bring him to justice. The demon pill is used as the main medicine to refine the wolf elemental pill. Put the wolf yuan dan into the weighing scale and receive the reward. Lianqi powder. The divine soul returned to the quiet room, and He Pingyan took off his qi training powder. A majestic spiritual energy swam through the meridians for more than 10 weeks before slowly stopping and merging into the elixir field. The spiritual power suddenly increased by more than 7 times. The spiritual power of a small pill is enough to withstand He Ping's 2-month-long life cultivation. No wonder even Emperor Jiaming wanted to establish the Palace of Eternal Life and use the power of the entire country to refine elixirs for himself. The feeling of soaring cultivation is simply not too satisfying. The daily life of the drug testing company is to take medication, record, eat, sleep, and take medication life routine, no need to stay up late, I wonder how much happier I am compared to my predecessor 996 Fu Bao. The only thing lacking is that there is no mobile phone around, unable to freely switch between various applications, no singing and dancing, and no sense of busyness as an emperor flipping through signs. In the blink of an eye, half a year has passed. The previous drug testers were almost gone, so a new group of people came in. Even Zhang San, who lives next door, is not as strong as before, losing the agility and ferocity he had when he first joined the testing drug company. I used to make a daily appointment with Department B, but I no longer made it 2 months ago. Brother Zhang, it's time for dinner. He Pinyin looked at the time and greeted Zhang San men. Cough cough. I won't go today. Zhang San's weak voice came from behind the door, clearly lacking in breath. Brother Zhang, what's wrong with you? He Pinyin pushed the door in and saw Zhang San leaning on the bed. There was a large pool of black and red blood on the ground beside the bed. Cough, cough. I'm fine. It's all like this, still saying it's okay. He Pinyin pinched his pulse and carefully explored it, frowning. Unexpectedly, Zhang San's erysipelas had developed so rapidly that they had already invaded his internal organs. If we don't solve it again, it will take 3 months to slow down and 1 month to fast up, and we will definitely die. Previously, Zhang San borrowed his recklessness and superficially said he needed his help to read and reply to letters, but the two did not owe each other. But He Pinyin understood in his heart that although Zhang San seemed rough, he was actually careful. He knew that if he were to give it directly to him, he was afraid that he would not be willing to accept it, so he deliberately said to ask for his help. Thanks to Zhang San's care and the gift of Mang Nyojin, my predecessor was able to repay the debt by reading and replying to the letter. 2 months ago, He Pinyin discovered that Zhang San had health problems and secretly infused a spiritual pill rewarded by Yidan into the water for him to take. But it was found that Zhang San had no effect after taking it. It seems that there should be clear restrictions on the reward of Yidan's elixirs, and only He Pinyin can use them. He Pinyin slowly infused a trace of the Mangniu power true element into Zhang San's body, temporarily dispelling the lingering poison in his body. However, the external true element was only a rootless tree and could only be slightly relieved. When the true element dissipates, the poison will be like a gangrene attached to the bone, occupying his internal organs and organs again. Safe, I feel much better now. As the erysipelas were temporarily dispersed, Zhang San's spirit recovered and he slowly sat up from the bed. Brother Zhang, you should pay attention to rest recently and not go drinking anymore. He Pinyin instructed that the body, which was originally trained with the Mangniu strength by Zhang San, should not be eroded by the poison so quickly. But he is naturally fond of drinking and fighting, and even his robust body cannot withstand such turmoil, leading to premature physical collapse. In order to attract more drug testers, the drug testing department also provides alcohol and meat in the cafeteria every night. Zhang San fights in the morning, goes to bed at noon, and gets drunk in the evening. Peace, I know my body is about to give up. It's better to have wine today than to be drunk today. Being drunk once is once. Zhang San's face turned gray and white, with a look of being defeated by life. Okay, since that's the case, then I won't advise you. But I heard the newcomer say that a new Lichuan courtyard has been opened in Xianyang City, and the girls inside are all charming and charming, tsk 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 tsk. Are you telling the truth? Zhang San, who was originally sitting on the bed, suddenly stood up with a jerk. End of this chapter. Chapter 10. Injustice and Righteousness. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 10. Injustice and Righteousness. On the second day at midnight, He Pinyin sat cross-legged on the bed, his eyes slowly opening. 7 colors of light flashed through his eyes, but quickly disappeared. It's strange to say that since Lu Ling and Dao Yuan died, it seems like the matter has come to an end and there have been no more abnormalities. In the past 6 months, besides trying pills and eating, He Pinyin has been practicing the longevity technique. The reward of Yidan Pavilion, as long as it is a pill, is refined into the 7-colored spiritual power of the longevity technique. The spiritual power increases day and night, and the strength increases day by day. But it is not very clear how strong it is and how Pinyin, who has no concept of cultivation, is. However, considering the turtle demon he saw earlier, He Pinyin felt that he was not as good as before. Such a powerful turtle demon, even the great Xian dynasty could easily eliminate it. For safety reasons, He Pinyin decided to continue hiding his cultivation and only use the long life technique to simulate some wild and powerful true elements. As He Pinyin spent more and more time in the drug testing department, he became more precise in describing the efficacy, advantages, disadvantages, and even the harm of each pill to the body after trying it out. Combined with his predecessor's background as a scholar and his ability to express himself more accurately than ordinary refugee prisoners, he gradually became the #1 drug tester in the drug testing department. The drug testing department also gradually instructed him to take some important pills first, which can reduce the number of times the pills are tested and save materials for alchemy. He Pinyin is also pleased with this. The more important the pill, the richer the reward of Yidan Gu. Not long after he got up from bed, Captain Ma and Yao Tong pushed open the door on time. At the same time, there was a middle-aged Taoist wearing a blue Taoist robe and carrying a long sword. The Taoist has a tall and straight figure, with a rosy complexion and slightly white temples. He wears a calm Taoist robe and appears extraordinary in the dark of the medicine testing department. He Pinyin, this is Changsheng from Chuanzhen Taoism, a true master of enlightenment. Real person. He Pinyin has been practicing alchemy for more than half a year, and he has seen many people in the Yidan Pavilion who claim to be immortal masters, but there are very few who can truly be called real people. Although the alchemists in the medicine refining department all claim to be immortal masters, in reality, their cultivation is generally not high, and only 2 chief alchemists can be called real people. I've met a real person from Changchun. He Pinyin quickly bowed and bowed. Wuyang Tianzuan. Hello, little brother He. Changchun Immortal arched his hand and bowed back, a vibrant spiritual power scattered on He Pinyin, quietly absorbed by the 7-colored spiritual power inside his body. This is the spiritual power of wood, mainly nourishing and nourishing hair. Thank you very much, real person. He Pinyin pretended to have a tiger body and shook, bowing and thanking. He Pinyin, Changchun is a master of enlightenment. If you have any requirements, please try your best to meet them. I'll obey you, my subordinate. Changchun, let's go out and wait first. Captain Ma arched his hand at the real person in Changchun and stationed outside the door with the medicine boy. Brother He, I came here today and I have something to ask for. The Changchun real person's face appeared conflicted, as if it was difficult to speak. Just give orders, real people. Seeing He Pinyin answer happily, Changchun finally revealed the purpose of his trip. Sure enough, he guessed about He Pinyin and came to test his medicine. However, this time the pill was not made by the medicine refining company, but by the hands of a real person from Changchun. Due to the preciousness of the main ingredient of the pill, it cannot be lost, so he only separated a small part from the main ingredient and refined this pill. But I was unsure about the efficacy of the pill, so I turned to the trial drug company for help. Brother He, this pill was refined by a 1,000-year-old demon beast demon pill. It was also my first time refining it, and I didn't accurately grasp the configuration of the ingredients. Among the pills, there are still many remnants of evil energy and poison, which are very powerful. After taking them, it is more ominous than good. And once this evil energy enters the body, regardless of the level of cultivation, or for ordinary mortals, the effect of the elixir is the same. So if you don't want to take it, I won't force it either. Changchun did not have much hope for He Pinyin. After all, living is the most basic desire of human beings. He originally did not fully agree with Emperor Jiaming's establishment of the Changsheng Palace Examination Medicine Department, believing that Emperor Jiaming was harming the people. So it has been decided in his heart that if Yidan is unwilling to take the pill, he will go back to the mountain to adventure and try the pill himself. I am willing to take it. To the surprise of Changsheng, Yidan almost didn't hesitate and agreed. At first glance, this pill belongs to a high level. How could he refuse the reward from Yidan Pavilion after taking the pill? You must understand that after taking this pill, there will be more misfortune than good. Changsheng thought Yidan didn't hear clearly and explained the danger of taking this pill again. Rest assured, I am willing to take it and share my worries with you. Yidan's gaze was firm, with a solemn and resolute expression. Upon hearing these words, Changsheng Immortal showed an unbearable expression on his face. As an ordinary person, you have such courage. I have achieved success in cultivation, but I dare not use my body to test pills. Brother you are the true warrior. It's okay, it seems that I haven't reached my home yet. I should go back to the mountains and seclude myself, and comprehend the path of life and death. After Changsheng finished speaking, he didn't even try the pill anymore and turned around to leave. As soon as Changsheng left, Yidan became anxious. If he were to leave, the reward would also fly away. Yidan suddenly widened his eyes and shouted at the back of Changsheng, Changsheng, you are trapping me in injustice. Brother how can you say this? Changsheng stopped in his tracks as he was leaving and turned back to ask in surprise. The people of Daxuan know that Changsheng is a famous expert in Daxuan. If I give up the idea of trying pills and go back to take the pills on my own, the people of the world will definitely despise me. This is unjust. If it's okay for a real person to take the pill, then it's okay. But if something unexpected happens after taking it, Daxuan immediately loses a top expert. Not to mention the infamy that fills the world, if external enemies invade and demons run rampant, who will resist? Even the colonel of the drug testing department cannot tolerate me. You didn't kill me, but I died because of you, which is inhumane. Yidan spoke with awe-inspiring justice, and when it comes to excitement, even the self-proclaimed subordinates became me. But if a real person leaves, my subordinates' left side will also die, and their right side will also die. It's better to hang a beam and commit suicide, so as not to be humiliated and laughed at and die in this trial medicine company. But it's not my intention. Changsheng was still struggling in his heart, and Yidan decided to give him some more powerful medicine. Real people, small things like trying pills should be entrusted to someone like me who is trying pills. Please take good care of your useful body for the sake of Daxuan and the people of the world. After speaking, Yidan bowed deeply to him. Changsheng saw his resolute words and had no choice but to agree, okay then. But when he agreed, he always felt that something seemed wrong. When did I have such an important position in Daxuan? Yidan hesitated when he saw Changsheng and continued, Jinren, if you still feel guilty, then reward me with a few miraculous pills and let me live here for a few more years. In his brief contact with Changsheng, he discovered that Changsheng was able to respect virtuous officials and did not despise himself just because he was a drug tester. Before testing the medicine, he was informed of the situation of the pill in advance, indicating that he was a true moral gentleman. And when Yidan tried to persuade him with the righteousness of his country in his own life, as expected, Changsheng couldn't bear it and had to let Yidan try the medicine. Changsheng Immortal scratched with one hand and took out a white and pure jade bottle from the storage ring, handing it to Yidan. This is a detoxification pill that I used to refine. There are still 3 pills in the bottle. Although I cannot detoxify this pill, after taking it, my body contains the chi of wood spirit, which can detoxify ordinary pills. I hope it can help you turn bad luck into good luck. Yidan took a detoxifying pill and then put away the jade bottle, but his eyes were fixed on the ring worn by the real person in Changchun. He thought to himself, this is the storage ring. It looks very good. I don't know if Changsheng will kill me if I ask for another storage ring. End of this chapter.